has, at least I think that she has done a great job, and with a lot of other books also that she has written. But I think this is one of the most famous ones that she has. And so, like, is it okay if you all want to start your camera in just in case? If you're not comfortable, that is also fine. I'll be starting. And
Uh, Harshita, can you see me? Am I visible?
no, you're not visible.
Okay. Actually, I have my camera on, so I'm just checking.
Is your camera showing the light as on?
Yeah, it is on, but it says an issue with connecting with the camera. So, yeah.
Maybe you can leave and come back again. Like, try that.
Yeah, I'll do that. Yep.
Okay. So, till then, like, I'll just, give like to give a very brief summary. Like, this book is about Draupadi and her life, and various relationships that she has had with a lot of characters of the Mahabharata, and the whole. A second. Yeah, I mean, you can try now. See if it is working. If it's not, it's okay. Are you there, Jofna?
Yeah, I'm there. Okay, it just says unable to access camera and it says contact support. So, okay, no worries. I think we'll run along with this one. Yeah.
Okay, fine. So I'll just start with the first discussion point that we have um, regarding the book. So I'll just read out. Karna insists. एक second, ये कौन सा हो रहा है? हाँ. Karna insists that he cannot fight against Duryodhan because he has eaten his salt. Okay, so what did you discover? Like, salt has this symbolism in ancient India, right? And even today, like, we use it in certain phrases. And like, let's just discuss the whole idea of loyalty that is brought in forth as the scene. Like, Karna is considered to be really he was really loyal to them, and he, even if he knew that they were doing wrong with the fight, he still chose to, like, side with them rather than side with the ones who were right. But just because I think he received a good amount of support and probably a lot of insult from the other side of the battle. So, what do you guys, think about this? So, we'll just go one by one. Um, and Ashutosh, would you like to start? Ashutosh, you're there.
Yes, I'm there. I'm there.
Yeah. Do you want me to read out the point again, or else I'll put it in chat also.
Yes, please put it in the chat box.
Okay, wait. Yeah. So I'll read again. So basically, it's about Karna and the kind of loyalty that he shows, throughout the book, throughout his life, actually. Even to the point that if he knows things are wrong. We had this discussion on Karna's wife as well. Like, that was the first book that we chose in Merrative. And there also, like, his wife knew that he's on the wrong side, yet he chooses to be with them. So it's about that. Like, what do you think about his whole act, about this whole, about eating salt and everything that is mentioned?
Yep. So I think that Karna as a character was very like he was kind of a victim of the things that happened around him because he didn't get accepted anywhere. Even it's mentioned that even Draupadi and all like they criticized him as well. So like and Duryodhan was the one who like Duryodhan belonged to a higher like he was a prince. But if we'll see like that time, Duryodhan didn't see that okay, Karna belongs to a lower caste or he's from another thing, and he accepted him. Right.
Yeah, that
So yep. So like
acceptance, yeah, that acceptance was there, and probably that he found it to be very binding. Don't you think? Like, to the point that he wasn't even Like he was willing to forego any sort of morals that were necessary.
Yep. I think even Karan also mentions because the because that's the only place where he found himself accepted. Even though he knew that okay, like Pandavas were my brother, and all this, but all he faced were discriminations from them and from everyone. So like kind of, I think that if he was accepted at some place, accepted somewhere, so that's the reason that he like even though he knew that Duryodhan was just a second, sorry, yeah, even though he knew that like Duryodhan was not uh, like on the right side, still he fought for him
Yeah.
because yeah, because he knew that like because he knew that okay, because this is the only place. Even if now I switch sides to towards the Pandavas, I don't know whether they will accept me or not. They will look me down. They will, like they will not consider me as an equal with them. They will get jealous of me and all such stuffs. So I think, but some at
Mm.
some places he was wrong, but that's the thing. That's what I think about Karna.
Okay, Kritika, you'd like to add? Kritika, you there?
Yeah, can you hear me now?
Yes,
I
yes, we
haven't
can.
used this app before. Yeah, so Karna, I think basically even he was a Kshatriya by caste, and by his virtues, he was. I mean, the virtues matter more than the caste, but previously it was the caste. So yeah, Duryodhan also was a Kshatriya initially, and about the salt thing, I think. Just a second.
You there?
Uh,
What happened?
yeah. Yeah, you can hear me now, right?
Yes, 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 we can hear you.
Yeah. So when
Go
he
ahead.
insists that he cannot fight against Duryodhan, that's also because he has helped him or he was with him when uh, like when no one is there with us. So that's the salt in initially it's not what he has given him food to eat or anything like that. It's more like uh, some people being with us and that also equates to salt, so I cannot betray him when he has helped me at some point when no one has. So yeah, even that was what I felt, that he cannot betray him no matter what because he was with him at some point.
But he was like an illegitimate son, right? Even if he was a Kshatriya, like
Yeah.
technically he was like, but people did not know about that. I'm not sure about that part. If everyone knew that he was his illegitimate son, or is it just in the book, like we know it as a reader?
No, so basically, yeah, agree with that point that nobody knew Karna's actual identity until his death. So nobody knew that he was a Kshatriya and he was treated as a lower caste person, the son of a
Hmm.
charioteer. Uh, even like the thing is that one of the most beautiful scenes in the book is actually when Kunti and Draupadi, they kind of everyone gets to know about Karna's real identity. But answering this particular question, Karna's life has always been a double-edged sword, right? uh,
Hmm.
the humiliation that he faced during Draupadi's Swayamvar, the issues that he had faced because he was the son of a charioteer and not a kshatriya or a higher caste person. The only place he found acceptance, like Ashto said, was with Duryodhan. And
Hmm.
honestly, that might have only been the um, virtue or the good deed that Duryodhan must have done in his lifetime, owing to all the bad deeds he did otherwise. And with respect to salt, so the reason why salt, has is a good metaphor is because it's more like when you are someone who is eating at a person's house as a guest, you do not poison their food. So that's kind of the metaphor used here because Karna states that he's given me that kind of salt, the kind of food that I require, and I cannot betray his trust, and I have to stay loyal because, at the end of the day, Karna is someone who is a nice person, but it's just that his circumstances were very unfortunate and he was very unlucky in general, and that's why his life was, in fact, a double edged sword.
Hmm. Yeah, very well put. He was also, if I'm not wrong, also insulted at the Swayamvar as well. So probably he couldn't really forget that. And maybe there's some form of revenge as well, to the whole thing where able to like redeem, not redeem exactly. I'm not sure if that word is the right, but at least he was like insulted. When you get insulted, it just gets stuck in your heart. You take it from your heart and everything.
That's true because, if you see, uh, like, now this is something that I think the book does not have it in much detail, especially Draupadi's Vastraharan, because during that particular scene as well, Karna had a very important role to play because even he badmouths Draupadi in many ways in that particular scene, and that's
Hmm.
because of vengeance. That's because of that whole hatred, because he was rejected on the basis of his caste and
Yeah.
not his ability.
Yes.
And
Yes.
like even earlier in the book, no, no, in later in the book when Karna goes to Bhishma, when he's in the like bed of arrows, he tells that Draupadi was the one person who I was up Karna for, but the things that she did to me, that's the reason that like I told that during Dushasan, like I told Dushasan to take out her clothes during that time. And about that salt part, I think like that's pretty much what Jyotsna told about how, I mean, if because that's the only place where he was accepted and he was eating at their place, he was living at their place, and Duryodhana even offered him a share during like of his like kingdom to him. So if
Hmm.
even though he knew that Duryodhana was going to lose the war, righteousness was going to win, he sided with Duryodhana because when like he wanted to die with Duryodhana rather than to betray Duryodhana at the moment when Duryodhana needed him the most, because Duryodhana was the one who helped him throughout his life, who gave him his identity, the one that he which
Hmm.
he had that time. So I think that is the reference of salt there. That's what I felt.
Yeah, identity is a very good word you've put out because that's what he did not have probably and probably felt his whole life, that identity aspect. So I'll just move on to the next one. So from the moment she steps out of fire, Draupadi recounts that she was the unwanted one. It was Dri whom her father wanted. Does this feeling of being shadowed pursue Draupadi throughout her life? We can start with Kritika this time. I put the point on the chat as well.
Yes, yeah, there was a point when she felt left out and brother given more importance than her. And yeah, the basically the fire was for uh, her brother, right? The fire was for her brother, and she was the unexpected one who came out of the fire. So
Hmm.
also like when she the maid there were except for the Daima, she was close to her, but the maids were they didn't treat her well. They made her sleep.
Hmm.
Yeah, so all those things happened, and at some point she did feel like her brother was given more importance, and basically her father wanted to take a revenge. Of course brother was the one who was expected from the fire, and yeah, that's the
Hmm.
feeling shadowed.
Yeah, definitely. Agree that probably that boy girl thing is there all the time. But the whole point was to not to have a girl at that time, right? Jyotsna, you'd like to add?
Yeah, so I mean, in effect, now this is something that the book does do well because it's from Draupadi's point of view. Uh,
Hmm.
the thing with the fact that where there is like this is where that feminist nature of the book comes in, right? Because there is
Yeah.
some form of misogyny that's portrayed here with respect to um, Draupadi not being the wanted child, instead, her brother being the wanted child for the revenge against Dronacharya. Uh, but that being said, it's just that it kind of sets the stage. I think this is something that's very specific to the book. I feel I'm not sure how it is in the actual original epic. The thing is, in the book, it kind of sets the stage for the misogyny and the kind of patriarchal society that she comes from, and that kind of blossoms into like this feminist narrative for Draupadi herself. So yeah, I mean it's a very interesting aspect for sure, but I still don't know if it was something that Drupad actually wanted or not wanted as per the original epic, because there are many retellings that have gone through all of these years of Mahabharata in general.
Yeah, even I didn't know before reading this book that it was actually like that. Like we in school, like when we had these chapters, that like we had Ramayana as part of the syllabus and Mahabharata as well. So there they were just told that she just came out of the fire and all, but the boy girl thing was never mentioned. This is the first place, but she has mixed fiction as well. So like all these authors who have done these retelling, sharing perspective and all, they have agreed that they have added fictional aspect to it, to that. Um, Ashutosh, would like to add to this point?
Well, I would agree with what Josna told about the patriarchy thing. I think that was pretty much the reason because even Pandavas wanted to save their own kingdom. They were more concerned about their own, like their own identity and the dynamics than Draupadi's. And also, like when the fire incident, she was not wanted because usually during that time, if we'll see, so girls were just supposed to be married off. So Drupad thought that, oh shit, now I had asked for something to like someone that I can revenge like Drona, but I got someone else as a burden. That's what Drupad might have thought during that time. And that's the reason she felt that okay, like now we have to deal with all this, we have to take care of her, we have to, like prepare her for marriage and all.
Hmm.
So that's pretty much what I think.
Yeah, but the question is also about, does this feeling like of being shadowed pursue Draupadi throughout her life as such? Because I mean, even as she moves from her life, like she has probably she's the most suffered woman character in the whole series. Of being having to share husbands, and the whole aspect of whatever cliche terms that might have been made on her. So like it's like the moment she was born, it was obvious that we don't want you, and plus they've just thrown her into the society. Kritika, you wanted to say something?
Yeah, also this fire incident was to set history, as Vyasa told Panchali that she is going to set a history, and that would be epic. Like the whole Mahabharata or whatever her role is, it's quite important. Also
Yeah.
teaches us many things. So even though I don't think that initially Draupadi would, I mean, he said that she's unwanted or something. He was how normal or happy even when she unexpectedly appeared there. So yeah, that incident happened because she was about to set history or something,
Hmm.
changing things.
Yeah, great point. So I'll move to the third one. So we know Draupadi as this fiery, opinionated young princess. How would her fate have been different had she been docile and submissive? Throughout, even in Karna's wife, she has been shown as somebody, as somebody who's like that. And over here, of course, this is her novel. So being fiery, being opinionated, and all is there. But then, can you like imagine like the whole series, if you can, like about her being something else? I think even about docile submissive is a different thing, but she did have to bend, in the end of the day, like get married to five people, uh, go into the war, face whatever criticism and all that is to be done. That whole, thing that happened with Shakuni and the whole game. Um, Irrespective of her, I feel if being fiery opinionated, it kind of went null, even if she was like that. So I mean that's what I feel. Let's start with Jyotsna this time.
Okay, so this may be very radical, but if she was not this kind of opinionated, strong woman, uh, then I think she would not have raised her voice against Karna during her Swayamvar. I think she would have ended up marrying Karna, and that's how things would have flown. But the whole reason why all of this happened, like the whole, I mean, people don't realize it. I think the book makes you realize this, that the whole of Mahabharata kind of revolves around Draupadi on many stages, because at the end, the war actually kind of happened because of the game of dice.
Mhm.
It actually happened because of that.
That's
But
what was gamble.
yeah, it's yeah gambling. I think it's called the game of dice, right? I think that's what the people in
Mm-hmm.
the old days called it. Yeah. So if the gambling didn't happen, um, you get my point, right? So she would not have like even reached to that stage. It would not have been that she would have been married to the five Pandavas. So maybe this is very radical, but that's what I think, because when we read Mahabharata not from the perspective of Chitra Banerjee Divakaruni, but when we read it from the original Vyasa's perspective, it's just that you see that it's a very male centric plot line. Correct, like it's a
Mm.
very male centric plot line, and you only see Draupadi's entry in and around the time when the Pandavas have to be married off. It's
Yeah,
before
yeah.
that you don't see Draupadi. So I think the whole reason why the Mahabharata is because Draupadi is a very important character there, and if she was like a submissive, or someone who does not speak much, someone who's not opinionated, then it would not have happened the way it would have happened, or the way it would have ended in general.
Mm-hmm. Ashutosh, you'd like to add? Ashutosh? Mm.
Yeah, sorry, I lost you for a moment. Okay,
Yeah.
so can you hear me?
Yeah, yeah, we can hear you.
Yeah. Okay, so what I think is if Draupadi would have been submissive, then things would not even have gone to the past the Swayambar. Because like if you remember in the book, it was mentioned that during Swayambar when Karna came and fixed the bow, then three Drishtadyumna took out his sword and they were going to have a fight there. So I think something would have happened there, and then the whole Mahabharata, as we know it, would have changed completely.
Okay.
And like given,
Tosh says that yeah, it wouldn't have happened in first place. And Mahabharata and both Ramayana and Mahabharata teaches us so many things. So this wouldn't have happened. And there's this line, I don't know on which page, but I remember that little sister, wait for a man to avenge your honor, and you'll wait forever.
Mm.
So yeah,
Oh,
that's the line
yeah.
of the book, and I really like it. Like, the feminist point of view is so good in this book.
Yes, yes, definitely. Okay. I'll move on to the fourth one. So, also like something to add, which we can couple up with the third point itself, uh, is that that she was the most sought after beauty, but even she couldn't live up to the standards, that was set by the society. Apparently, she was very dark, you know. So, like, despite her personality and beauty, she herself was compelled to think of herself as a princess afflicted with a skin so dark that people termed it blue, like Krishna, I think. So would you guys like to comment on this particular aspect, like coupling it up with the whole uh, her fiery attitude and all as such?
The dark complexion, that's why I think Krishna and Draupadi were great friends
Hmm.
because they both had this complexion. And yeah,
You're saying something, or you're done?
no, no, yeah, I there was a sound. So.
Okay.
Yeah, in the chat box, I think the question is, what do you make out of
Oh no, I
Kurukshetra
was
War?
just there was one more point in the YouTube that we took previously about her
Okay.
being a dark competition. I was just coupling it up with the third one. So that's all. Anyone else wants to add on that one?
I think the dark complexion of Draupadi is very much symbolic because of the mere fact that generally people prefer fair princesses, and the way
Hmm.
women are described in these stories are generally like being fair and beautiful, because fair is equal to beautiful. But
Hmm.
for once over here, like, Draupadi is dark skinned, and although there are many adaptations that do not show her as this dark skinned person, she's shown as this
Yeah.
very fair skinned person. Even like you want to adapt Mahabharata on the silver screen, then also we've seen these renditions where Draupadi is not a dark skinned lady. It's a very beautiful lady in general. So uh, it's just this thing that like I said, like setting that stage for that uh, feminism centric plotline, setting that stage in order to ensure that um, that form of patriarchy, that form of beauty standard is also like slashed literally. So I think that's one of the reasons why in this rendition we see her to be this dark skinned person. But otherwise, many of the adaptations or the retellings we've seen do not have this dark skinned uh, characteristic pointed out specifically to you.
Hmm. Right. Right.
Yep, even
Ashutosh,
I
you want to
didn't
add?
know that. Yes, I even didn't know that Draupadi was dark skinned until I started reading some books. Because we can't just blame, because you have been brought up by watching the Mahabharata series and all, and there Draupadi is presented as this fair and beautiful. So I like the concept of how, like, beautiful is not just associated with fairness, but like also with many other, like, her qualities and the way that she presents herself as.
Hmm. Hmm. Okay, let's move on to the next one. What do you make out of the Kurukshetra war after reading the book? Was it really about right versus wrong or simple ego-based devastation? I feel it was simple ego-based devastation. And when somebody writes, about at that time, about kings and all, you write it in a very elaborative way to represent, even today, like whoever is the winner of anything, any war and all, decides the story and all. And when they mention, I mean, all sorts of wars are depicted in that way, but it all starts, I feel, from somewhere around ego between countries or between people. And in this case, it was about land, I guess. So uh, that's all I have to take. Ashutosh, let's start from you this time.
Okay, yep. So I think that, so when this question of Mahabharata comes, the what dharma comes. So also there has been many differences in how to define dharma. What is dharma exactly? Because
Hmm.
if you will see, like, the dharma of the Kauravas side was to defend them, like their side. The dharma of the Pandavas was to defend like their side in the war. So I think this is more of a egocentric thing, because they didn't want to be submissive to each other, or like, I mean, that's the reason. Even there are many places mentioned that, and because if it would have been versus right or wrong, so the Pandavas, if we consider the Pandavas at the right side and the Kauravas the wrong side, but we will see that the Kauravas fought more ethically than the Pandavas, because in many instances Pandavas used like many tricks, and many, like, they used many unethical things to kill the major people on the Kauravas side,
Hmm.
because then if they would not do that, they would not own the war, and they would not be right anymore. So I think this was like more of a egocentric clash, that I need to win because we are the we are considered as the good side, and they are considered as the
Hmm.
wrong side. But yep, and there are like many stories, because there is this one story how even Arjuna goes, and because this is not in the book itself, I think this is from somewhere else that I read, that so there was this one thing, right? Because after the war ended in the night, you could go visit each other's places. So it happened during one time that Duryodhana had this one weapon, I think, or something. No, no, no. So Bhishma had this one weapon which he had kept, to give it to Duryodhan to destroy the Pandavas. So Arjuna goes to Duryodhan and asks him from for his crown, so that he can go and deceive Bhishma by wearing that crown that he is Duryodhan, and he can
Yeah.
like gain that weapon from Bhishma. And Duryodhan even like, because given Duryodhan is like Duryodhan, and I think they had some deal between them that Duryodhan had asked Duryodhan had told Arjun that you can ask me for a boon. So he utilized the boon even to take that weapon. So I think like that's pretty much it. Even in the way Karna was killed, the way Drona was killed, the way even Bhishma was like made on a to sit on a bed of arrows. I think like all of these show that it's just a egocentric clash and it's not the fight between right and wrong.
Okay. Jyotsna, would like to add?
Yeah, okay. So, actually, it's a very difficult question, right? Because if we want to say something's right versus wrong or simple ego based devastation, I think it's none. Uh, because the thing is that the Mahabharata is kind of the only epic, uh, I think, out of all the stories that we know from Indian mythology, where our characters are pretty much grey. Like most of the characters have their own flaws, and most of them have, their own good deeds as well. So normally, what we see in Indian mythology, like if you even take the Ramayana, like Ram is considered good and Ravan is considered bad, but uh, until a point of time, Ram is only like the good person, the good, until after the war. So what I mean to say here is that um, I'm not sure if it's an ego-based devastation because it kind of plays to the good and the bad deeds, sorry, characteristics of our characters. For example, Duryodhan is a great friend to have, but then he is very arrogant and he's very haughty in general. He's very proud of the fact that he's going to be the king. So that's his bad characteristic per se. But then when we talk about his friendship with Karna, that's something that's pretty much pure because he can do anything for his friend, just like Karna can do anything for
Mm.
him. So honestly, I'm not sure if it's completely ego because I know, like during the war, like I agree with Ashutosh that during the war, like a
Mm.
lot of trickery and magic took place, due to which the war was eventually won by the Pandavas. But you can't even say that the Kauravas didn't do any tricks because there was like some form of cheating on both the sides. Like even after the war, with Dronacharya's son, he tried to kill. Sorry, this was, yeah, Ashwathama, yes. So he tried to even
Mm.
kill the soul higher, like I think it was Uttara's baby, right? So
Yeah.
the thing is, trickery magic took place on both the sides, and the reason was simple, that that person's using it and this person's using it, and that the whole war can be called like an ego based devastation. But the events that led up to the war, I don't think that was exactly ego. That was just solely like people being. Um, I don't have a word for it. Like I said, I don't think it's right versus wrong, or I don't think it's ego based as well. I just think that the events that led up to that particular point could have been, you know, put on various characteristics of our characters in general, be it good or bad. In some cases, ego, yes. In some cases, not with ego. I hope that made sense because I don't know how to
Yeah.
like classify it. Yeah.
Yeah.
So
Basically, you're saying at some places it was, some places it's how naturally people behave. Like, uh, at least that's what I made out.
yeah, correct, right. I mean, at some, of course, like it's like a very male dominated like the war scene is very male dominated, right? So I do believe like uh that kind of idea of manliness comes to that kind of ego and arrogance that is shown in during the war itself. But otherwise, like they considering that they were humans or chiranjeevis at the end of the day, they had their own flaws, and Mahabharata is the only epic per se where they have a grey picture for all the characters and not like a right wrong, so kind of thing per
yeah,
se.
gray. Yeah. Kritika, I'd like to add to
Oh
anything apart
yes,
from this?
yeah,
Yeah.
I agree with Josna. She said that it's a grey character. Yes, because at some point I was angry at Duryodhan. Sometime I was agreeing with him, and many characters. It was both the sides, so we cannot choose between right and wrong. Whereas there are some of the things which made like I won't say no sense, but like the Vyasa, he warned Draupadi that hold your laughter when you're not supposed to laugh. So, and the scene was in the palace when the Kauravas visit after the division of kingdom. So Duryodhan enters the palace, and by mistake he steps into pool thinking it was a bridge, and she burst out in laughter with the other girls around. So and then Duryodhan gets offended and plans a revenge. So that was nothing to be nothing to get offended. It could have been the other way as well, like a laugh. He would have laughed with them as well because it was his mistake thinking it was a bridge. So even though it was a palace of illusions, like it was built with Maya, if we had to put it. So yeah, this scene I thought that maybe ego because everyone was
Mm-hmm.
laughing on him. And yeah, the right and wrong, and if we had to talk about the Kurukshetra war, that was a complete different story. Like another which Vyasa warned Panchali was, do not like hold back your tongue when you're about to curse someone. So when she does this to, I think she does this to Kichak. He was Sudeshna's brother, and he had an evil eye on Panchali, and that's why she cursed him. And maybe after that, it led to Kurukshetra. So yeah, right and wrong. But yeah, some of the things which were like egoistic.
Mm-hmm. Okay, great. Just picking up the last one. The so-called boon of hymen renewal every year, and it was only Draupadi herself who wonders if the boon is for her benefit or for the husband's. So why is there so much obsession, like, over virginity? Like, is this really a boon? If she herself wonders if this is a boon or not. So, uh, would you guys like to share some thought, on this aspect of what is mentioned in the story? I think we can start with Jyotsna this time.
Okay, so basically, this
We
was
last time
my
started with you,
most.
no?
I'm not sure. I think
No,
it
no,
was
it's okay. Go ahead. Yeah.
Ashutosh.
Yeah.
Okay.
Last
So,
time it was me.
yeah.
Okay. So Jyotsna.
Yep. Okay, so basically, this was the most triggering part for me in the whole book, simply because it's not her mistake, right? That she has been married to five men. Like it was not in her hands, and it
Mm,
was just a matter of misunderstanding or miscommunication due to which that happened. That now she has to be the bearer of purity in quotes. This purity being this obsession over virginity, and she has been put in that particular position where she has to like spend 1 year with each of her husbands, and after that 1 year, her virginity gets restored and things like that. So it's pretty triggering, and this kind of obsession has been there in the Indian society like since a very long time. Even when we talk about premarital sex, the reason why it's a taboo
mm,
is because of this particular obsession over virginity,
yeah.
that kind of purity that comes with a woman's vagina. So I think that's a very important aspect because uh, we are talking about Draupadi in the Palace of Illusions, who's navigating through a very patriarchal society in general. So as she's like moving forward in the society, she is actually witnessing these events happening to her. So yeah, I mean the obsession has always been there, and the reason for this obsession is because virginity is equal to purity, and um, no one asks the same to the men over there because um, yeah, like it's the obsession's always been there. It's even there today in the society. So yeah.
Great. Kritika, you'd like to add?
Yeah. So about the virginity, yeah, it is equal to purity, and that's the reason we have the uh, like yeah, same thing. Why aren't men questioned about this too? And about the society, I mean, uh, from the story point of view, it wasn't her fault basically. Like as like it was a misconception or a misunderstanding between all of them. Like whatever was a past life and whatever she demanded the qualities of her husbands to be, and she got it in five different men. So yeah, it's the society also. Uh, how can I put it? Yeah, like the equal to purity, that's the reason why we believe it. Like it's
Hmm.
the book, like how can I say it, it's all upon the one thing that virginity is equal to purity, that's it. And if we change this, then there wouldn't be this question.
Hmm. Okay. Ashutosh?
Well, I agree with what both Kritika and Joshna told about how there is this whole belief that virginity equal to purity, and hence I
Hmm.
think that like this was not a kind of a boon for Draupadi. It was for the husbands in the first place, because there is this one thing. There's this one book that I had other book that I had read. In there, it's called Yagya Seni by Pratibha Rai. There it was written how like everyone wanted her. So because all of the five Pandavas were jealous of Arjuna that he was the one who was going to have her, and hence that was a like like what how can you put it? Okay, like that was a like choice, the choice of what that they made to tell that we have bought something for you, we have bought something, that's something like because it was because they wanted that, because they knew the response from Kunti was okay, you share the whatever you bought, you share it among yourselves, and they themselves think that we can't deny Kunti anything. That's the reason that that was kind of a very proper choice of what that they made so that they could achieve Draupadi. So I think like this boon that Draupadi, so-called boon that Draupadi got, it was not for her but for the husbands. And like I agree with that. That even today also, even like if a girl is not virgin, most of the families would reject her,
Hmm.
right? Because that's how Indian society is. I mean, that's it.
Okay, great. That's all I had, and thank you everyone for joining. Even though I had discussed this book last time also, again this time I had different perspectives. And is there any like, would you guys want to recommend this book to anyone? Like, you can just say as a yes or no maybe, and then I think we can like wrap it up. And of course you can suggest any book that you would like to discuss, and we can just try to find people who would like to join and get on a group call like this. And yeah.
Yeah, of course, I would surely recommend, and even I had also I put it on my Instagram story to, read this book because it has a complete different point of view. And
Mm.
of course, at the last of this session, can everyone please click on videos? I want to take a screenshot because it's the first time I'm discussing a book, and
Oh.
I'm really thankful for Merrative that they have this platform, and it's really good. I would like to take part in every book discussion. Also, book
Sure.
suggestion of Amish Tripathi, the author. I think he
Yeah, we
has
have
great.
to tell you that. Mm.
Those. So, can we start a like a train of mythological books? So, because I'm
Oh
really into
yeah.
those.
Yeah, so like I am actually making a calendar, to have at least one discussion every day around 9 p.m. or something, 9 or
Okay.
10 p.m. And I think around Saturday I have kept it as religion and philosophy. So let's see if we'll put this Friday as one of the Amish Tripathi books. And
All right. Yeah.
um,
His
maybe
new
the
book
first
is
part is.
Dharma, which is quite good. I recently read it.
Acha, ha, 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 he released a new one recently, yes.
Yeah, and there are many other books as well which depicts Mahabharata. So mostly it's
Mm-hmm.
Mahabharata. Like there are many books on that. So
Mm-hmm.
yeah, that could be done.
Okay, great. We'll pick that up. What about you two? Like, any closing remarks, and we can end it.
I think this was my first, Chitra Banerjee Divakaruni, and I kind of fell in love with her writing and the way she actually writes, these kind of feminist depictions of uh, our mythology in general. And I would highly, highly recommend it. I would also recommend her other book, like The Forest of Enchantments. Even that's like a nice rendition of the Ramayana. Although there might be some unpopular opinions about it, but get into it because Sita and Draupadi are very like different people in general. So what Chitra Banerjee Divakaruni tries to do is they try to she tries to stay authentic with the way they are portrayed in the original epic itself. So
Hmm.
Sita and Draupadi are like two opposites. So I like her writing a lot, and she's one of my favorite female authors. So yeah, I highly recommend her works in general.
Great, awesome. Ashutosh, you'd like to
I
add anything
Yep,
here?
I would like to recommend this book because like this is not just a study of the Mahabharata from Draupadi's point of view, but this is also a good study of how a character can be developed from the first person of view, and it can also have flaws
Hmm.
because usually the book that we're talking about, it's called Against Any. So that book is also written from Draupadi's point of view, but the fact is Draupadi has been completely whitewashed in that book. She has no
Oh,
flaws. She tells that I have been the victim. But I like it how Chitra like just tells through like Chitra accepts like makes Draupadi accept that okay, I was wrong here, I should have done this. This is the point where I did wrong, and these are the flaws that I have in the my like this whole epic. So that's another one of the reason. Like okay, adding to what Josna and Kritika said, this is one another of the reason why I would recommend this book to everyone. Just read and see how things can be written in first person perspective.
okay, great. Um, awesome. Thank you again, everyone, for joining, and have a good evening and a Sunday. Happy Easter, everyone, also.
Yeah, same to you.
Yep. Same to you. Thank you. Had a great
Thanks a lot
time.
for
Yeah.
having this
Bye.
session. Bye.
Bye.